back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Gerald Glassford coming up back right here with you. The Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's Pop Culture Cosmos, for the Friday edition of the PCC Multiverse, I am talking CES, my time there, CES 2025. My best of pop culture for last year. I count it down for you. And it's number 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Squid Game Season 2 and Severance Season 2. One of the best shows you need to see on Apple TV right there for you. Just started, so I have thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2, which was just announced, Severance Season 2, and Squid Game Season 2, all for you on the Pop Culture Cosmos channels, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, of course, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Joe Soro is probably not going to be with us tonight. I believe he's talking some Dodgers on with Empire Jeff, but he is usually here. Go ahead and support him today with his game, Corrupt, the indie fighting game of the year on Steam, Coreupt. I'm going to get a Switch eventually, JSJ. I'm just not rushing out to get it. I think there are probably going to be better handhelds that are more suited for me that I'd like to go ahead and get my hands on first ahead of the Switch 2. But eventually I'll get one. I'm sure a Pokemon game will come out or something like that I'll have to go ahead and get it. Or at least I'll be told to anyways. But also as well, of course, don't forget the guys that help us out occasionally when they stop on by, like Stone Hansen, of course, also as well, Alfred Esmond, Legend 350. Those three guys, please follow them. John Costa, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Also as well, of course, don't forget Lakers in 5, Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights. Yo, the Lakerholics crew. I think they're going to do a show tomorrow. Lakerholics.com. But they're also going to do a show tomorrow, I believe 11 o'clock on Saturday. So go ahead and listen in as Jamie Sweet and Michael, I will think will be there. Michael Heinrich. Go ahead and check them out tomorrow for the Lakers weekend special, the Lakerholic Spotlight indeed. Also as well, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe here. Please like and subscribe. I know everyone says on YouTube, but we need your help. We're at 2030 on our number of subscribers. We need more. Want to get to the big time. And with your help, the like and subscribe, we will do just that. And if you want to see the latest videos that I post for PCC and some other special stuff, articles, including the thoughts on Ben Simmons from one Mark, aka Xbox. It's now available for members. You can become a member today for just $2.99 a month, right there for you at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Well, the Lakers, in the inimitable words of Jamie Sweet himself, this was a trap game because tonight the Lakers were up against a team that just played the Clippers the other day and lost by 59. Let me put that into your head for a second again. 59 they just lost by. So you're thinking it's going to be a cakewalk for the Lakers. Oh, but before the game, we found out that the plantar fasciitis was acting up, or the fact that they just wanted to rest him against the Brooklyn Nets, who just lost by 59. So Anthony Davis decided not to play. So with that, you still said yourself, this should still be an easy game. We've got LeBron James. We've got Austin Reaves. We've got enough players in the backing to go ahead and get the job done. Well, for virtually the entire game, that did not prove to be correct, as the Lakers and Brooklyn went back and forth all game long. Basically, as far as what they were doing was just sleepwalking for most of the time. The only two players seemingly that decided to go ahead and play 1-on-5 at times were LeBron James and Austin Reaves. And backed by Austin Reaves, humongous performance tonight, 38 points, 4 of 8 from 3, 13 of 23 overall, and LeBron James chipping in with 29 and 8 assists and 7 rebounds himself. The Lakers escape the Crypt with a 102-101, very unimpressive. I won't say slightly embarrassing. You could say really embarrassing. I won't get you on that. You decide which way you want to see it. Victory over the Brooklyn Nets to go 22-17. Just absolutely a miserable performance all game long. D'Angelo Russell in the D'Angelo Russell revenge game, the D'Lo revenge game. He tried to ball out today. He got 19 points himself to lead his team, but it wasn't enough as a last second three fell just short. And the Lakers do escape with a 102-101 victory. And hopefully, I'm going to get the guys together to stop on by here real soon. But I want to hear your thoughts out there until they do come by. Hopefully, we can get you in there. Dwight's in here again. All playing. You know what? If there's any trash talking, you guys are more than welcome to talk it because tonight they deserve to be talked trash to because today was a miserable performance by the team. They barely escaped with a victory again over a team that just lost by 59. And here today to discuss today's really, I don't know. Again, as the start of the chat, they said a victory is a victory. I guess a victory is a victory, but man, I just don't feel like it. I don't feel good about it. I don't have the warm fuzzies about it. Is a good man indeed. It is, of course, Mark, aka Xbox. Read his article today for all members, $2.99 a month, right there for you, and you can read his thoughts on Ben Simmons, who we just played. It is, of course, Mark, aka Xbox, and Xbox. Great to have you here, my friend. Looking forward to the Switch 2. You and JSJ seemingly first in line to buy one. Okay,
Hell
more
yeah.
power. I'll be like 2 millionth in line to buy one, but I'll buy one eventually. That's usually the way it is. Nintendo usually gets me sooner or later. There you go, FC25. Absolutely. Still be able to work on a Switch too, by the way. So
That's the appeal. Mm.
I will ask you this. You, of course, Danny, Cool Bro, Joe, John, Laker Nick, were all part of our great coverage on Lakers Fast Break on playback. But you seeing down the stretch, I could hear. I had to go. I was trying to set up for the show. And I was doing some other things, and I could hear you throughout my ringing throughout my headset with your displeasure on today's game. And the fact is, they were up by what 10? I think 9 or 10 late in the game. Decided,
Yeah.
as we've seen before on more than one occasion this season, to choke that lead and give us a really, really nervous time coming down the stretch. This isn't the first time this has happened this season. I think this is probably the fifth or sixth time this has happened. But they get away with the victory. The problem is, I go away with it very unimpressed.
Oh, it was
And
honestly
by the way,
we
Xbox, if anybody's talking trash today,
yeah,
I
wrong.
have no defense. I have no
Yeah.
defense today.
But it might be the wrong day to do it because we could lose our minds. But look, as you know, as we spoke about yesterday, my brother's a really big Brooklyn Nets fan. So if we lost today, it would have been an absolute double whammy for me. So yeah, I mean, what a game, Gerald. That was pathetic. And the way we played and the way we defended, I'm still a little bit in shock. I think I had a minor heart attack there at the end when D'Lo shot. And getting to nearly my 40th year, having heart attacks is not what I want to be doing. But if that shot had gone in, Gerald, I don't know what sort of state we'd all be in right now. But what a game, guys! That was really poor. And when you see, I know we didn't have AD, so we'll acknowledge that. But when you see the obviously AR, shout out to you, shout out to LeBron for absolutely carrying the team tonight. But what's going on there? I mean, yesterday I'm here defending JJ Redick like there was no tomorrow, and then you see the team output that they put out today. Is it JJ? Is it the cattle? Oh man, it was terrible. And the defense was shocking. They didn't care at all. They let them shoot whatever threes they wanted. Granted, they were making them, but man, that was really poor. You just got to watch any other team. Like go like we were talking about yesterday, Joe, OKC, Cleveland. I mean, we don't expect our players to be like the OKC defenders, but do you even care? I can't believe what's happened. Honestly, they lost by 60 points to the Clippers, and that we've won by a point. Mate, if we think this team's going anywhere, we're absolutely kidding ourselves. I keep calling for it. Like, do something. Trade AD. What are we doing? Like, are we going to be here in 2 years' time AD and LeBron still running the team, the same crappy cattle behind them, or maybe Rands, like guys like AR who can explode for good games. We need to do something, man. This was just really, really bad. I don't
I
know if
mean,
I'm reacting properly to it, but honestly, I feel really shattered by what I just saw.
yeah, it wasn't even good. Off the bench, Gabe Vincent, 10 points, but he was still 1 of 5 from three. So again, hit one of his better performances. But when one of his better performances, he shoots 1 of 5 from three, that really isn't helping you a whole lot. New acquisition Trey Jamison played 15 minutes, got you a donut.
Ah,
Shake
dude.
Milton, seven, but he's new, so we're gonna give him.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
fine.
say too much about that. So give it to, but Shake Milton was in there for a cup of coffee and didn't get you much. Dalton
Ah,
Connect, he looks shot. He basically is
he's
just at this
struggling,
point.
Gerald.
His confidence is just it's gone. It's
Yeah,
absolutely gone at this
it's a
point.
shame.
I really don't know what he's at this point. Yeah, I'm questioning why he's out there because he's just only
Mm,
embarrassing things right now for himself. At this point, that they need to rethink about how they want to utilize him on this team. Max Christie didn't show up tonight, 2 of 13. Uh, Rui was was okay at the beginning, but just decided to tail off. His game did, only 10 points from him. Jackson Hayes got hurt, I believe, and they started Jameson in the third quarter. I think something wrong with his shoulder as I saw him leaving towards the locker room.
mm.
So he gave us 33 minutes tonight, 6 points, nine
Nah,
rebounds. So we'll see about him
don't
as
even
far
get
as
me
the shoulder is
started with that.
concerned.
Yep.
Yes, just absolutely no help for LeBron and AR. I said it on playback. It was either LeBron on five
Yeah.
or Austin Reeve on five. I'm seeing LeBron chuck up logo threes.
Yeah.
And normally I should be extremely ticked off about that. And the Darrens and the other LeBron, the Balds and other people
Yeah.
like that that really hate LeBron out there. I don't hate LeBron, but it makes me mad when he does stuff like that. Today, I can't say anything because again, if
Nah.
LeBron doesn't go LeBron on five, if Austin Reeves doesn't go Austin on five when LeBron's not in there, this team doesn't get it done. I understand it would have been looked nice, but to a more balanced offense, everybody passing the ball, the offense flowing through. But when they tried to, the rest of the Lakers gave them very little options to go ahead and succeed in this game. And this was against a team that just lost by 59 freaking points
Points.
to the Clippers just a few
Yeah.
days ago.
It's yeah, it's the concerns now coming out of this game. There's going to be serious questions, and shout out to the chat. Hit the likes, boys, as well. This has
Please
been
do if you
this
can.
is yeah a hard one to take, and always we're thinking of Jeremy too. If he's watching, shout out to Jeremy. But just yeah, the game tonight was just really, really poor. And yeah, like I said before, shout out to LeBron, shout out to AR, they got it done. But when you look in behind that, Gerald, basketball is a team sport. Now I know it's dominated by your superstar players, but they don't. You look at superstar players, they'll get you three-quarters of the points. You need other players to be able to step up and do their job. What is going on? What the hell has happened to Rui Hachimura? What's going on there, bro? Like today, we were talking about it during the game. Straight trade for Vooch for Rui, mate. I'll fly over to America. I'll handle the deal myself. Rui has just gone backwards at a rate of knots. I don't know if it's JJ lack of confidence. I don't know what's going on there, but the guy is shocking now. Gabe, yeah, thank you, Gabe, with your afro and your face, and you stepped up tonight. You're also on 12 mil, bro. You've had some absolutely woeful performances this year. Gabe, shit. Hayes, what's going on with the bigs at the club, Gerald? Like, are we going to start questioning the medical staff and stuff like that? I mean, he's injured again. AD's injured again. Vando's never playing. Wood's shit. Like, oh man, it's just bad. And then what? We've traded Quincy Oliveira, who was scoring 40 to 50 points in the
No,
G
we just
League.
waived him. We let him
Yeah,
go.
sorry, we waived him for nothing, and then we got in this. Honestly, Gerald, when you sent me the thing about Jamison, I decided, like I said, I looked up some highlights for him. I could tell within 5 seconds that guy's not going to give us nothing. I mean, like Joe said, you think big off the scrap heap's going to come in and be the miracle for our team? Bigs that are a dime a dozen. He would be in the league if he was any good. He's crap. So we've added him now. Like it's honestly, man. Yeah, I'm struggling with it, and you can go a few ways. You can look at, okay, JJ, what's he doing with the coaching? It's poor at times. But we've got to keep going back to dudes like Rob and Genie who've put this squad together. This is poor, man. This is so poor. When you look at like the bench warmers and the second rate players that we talk about Brooklyn having, I'd like some of them on our team. I'd love to switch some of those players for our players. I'm not talking about D'Lo. We tried with him, but some of the other boys that show a bit more heart, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, is there some of these sort of players that are on low money don't want to play because of what's happened with Bronny? It was really bad, man. I can't believe that they lost by 60 points and we've beaten them by a point. It doesn't work out that way, and sometimes it's hard to get up for bad teams, and sometimes they play better. But you saw yourself tonight, Gerald. It wasn't about Brooklyn. It was about us. We played woeful. It was isolation basketball, LeBron and AD, and the defending. No one cared. No one gave a shit, and yeah, man. We're passionate Laker fans here, and it's you just yeah, you look at it and we're cooked. That team's not going to win the NBA chip, are they? So, uh, I don't know. Come back next game and we win by 20, and maybe I'm a different. But yeah, you can see enough tonight in what you guys have said before, the predictions before the start of the season, with where we're going to end up in 13th place to the playing spot, etc. That's exactly where we're at, boys. We're cooked.
Once again, it is Mark, aka Xbox, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this and truly appreciate it. The Lakers meander through a 102 to 101 win. I think meander is probably the best word I can utilize for it because I like to say some other things, but unlike Mark, I'm not really going to go ahead and go PG-13 on you guys, but they did play like dirt, like crap, whatever you want to say, in getting the win. And it just let a lot of bad habits, from Austin on 5 to LeBron on 5, but it was necessary in order to get the victory. I know Doobie says if AD's there, they get a 20, 30-point victory. I'm not so sure because, again, this team often plays down to the level of its competition. They do get these victories against these lower teams, but they never make it pretty. That's why they're, even for a team that's now 22 and 17, that their scoring differential still in the negative because as Sean said the other day, we have more 20-point losses than anyone. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating because you see periods of time where the schedule could be a lot easier, even with the games that were rescheduled. You see a schedule that could be easier for this team to start building some confidence, building some wins. I don't think anybody in that locker room is building any confidence after tonight's game in the Lakers locker room. They think, yeah, they're going, whew, got the victory without AD tonight. I think they're saying, okay, that's great, but they could have lost it on the last second shot to D'Lo. That's how bad it is, and it's really, really concerning for a lot of people out there who want to believe Robert. He on the other day, and I know you're in the chat, my friend, predicted that the Lakers would go top four. He believes in what this team can do or can do in regards to where it can go. I don't share that enthusiasm. I wish I could, but I have to give a more realistic take. And it's games like these, which they barely escape against a team that should be beating by 30, really gets me concerned when they can barely beat these tanking teams, Mark.
Man, look, Robert, shout out to the positivity. I'm a pretty positive person other than right now. But the boys know I went on a pretty
Young,
big
if you know me, Young, I will not forget this game by next week. I will remind you guys next week about this game.
Podfather won't forget this one. But yeah, look, I'm a pretty positive person in just in life generally, and I think the guys know that. But I just saw some signs tonight that really, really shocked me, and I just couldn't believe when we got up by 10 points. I honestly felt at that stage, Gerald, that, yeah, okay, we're going to get the 20, 25-point win, and people are going to look at the box score and think, oh, we've blown them out. But we went the other way, which really shocked me. And guys, D'Lo had a game-winning shot which bounced off the rim. He makes those shots. He made them tonight. He could have won the game for them. So, we can be as positive as we want to normally, but if we focus on this game in isolation, it was pathetic. And just the signs there, yeah, like I'll harp on about it, but because even if you go back to some of the earlier sort of catch ups we had, Gerald, I was a big proponent of Rui. Mate, he shocked me tonight with his play and his demeanor. Like when he was on the bench in the fourth quarter, they showed him he was a seat away from the team with his leg up. Like he seemed perplexed to me. The dude's on the third amount of coin in the team, guys. Like he's not the sixth, seventh highest paid player in the team. He's expected to be the third option. Can't do it. Yeah, I don't know. Gabe, to his credit, played okay tonight. Dalton, let's talk about Dalton, Gerald. Like you are the
Do we have
president of
to?
the fan. Well, as the president, I think you've got some answers, some questions to answer, and I might ask them of
He
you.
plays playing soft and he has
Yeah.
zero confidence. I mean, when they showed up the stat during the game that he's shot 18, I think 16 or 18% from three in the months of December and January. And that's now a sample size of a close to 20 games. That's horrendous. That shows to me that something has happened in regards to his confidence. Other than that, it could be mean that he's a streaky player and he has a hot streak
Mm,
coming on the way for another 10 or 15 game stretch where he shoots out of his mind, and then another 10 or 15 game stretch where he shoots like he's off his mind. So,
mm.
yeah, I was hoping he would be more of a consistent for us as far as let's say in between the 38 to 42% from three eventually, and he still has the room to go ahead and develop into that kind of player, Mark. But he'll need to, because the thing is, if they're passing it off, the Lakers are, as far as him being a rookie and whatnot. That's fine, but if he's in his second, third, fourth, fifth year in the league and he plays like this, he's going to find himself out of the league because his defense is absolutely abysmal. He plays softer than tissue. It's absolutely, as the president of the fan, I'm the president of the fan club because I know what he could do to score when he lights it up, and you can see that gleam in his eye. But when you see all the deficiencies in his game and his 3-point shooting isn't supporting it, it's a real problem. He is a real enigma out there for the Lakers.
Yeah, well said. And I'm the president of the Giddy fan club. You're the president of the Dalton fan club, and it's not really working out for us at the moment, isn't it? So we
Neither can
might have
shoot
to.
for three, but Giddy
No,
actually might beat him in a 3-point shooting contest
there
right
you
now.
go. But we actually spoke a couple of weeks ago, Gerald, and we said there'd be no benefit for Dalton to go back to the G League. How do you feel about that now?
At this point, if maybe you're going to need to. I mean, it's worked a couple times for Cam Whitmore.
Yeah.
When Cam Whitmore earlier this season was playing absolutely abysmal for Houston, they sent him down to the G League. He was averaging 25 a game there and came up and has now become a contributor on Houston as far as coming off the bench for them, getting 10 to 20 points a game for them on a lot of occasions. So maybe it is something for him as well. But the thing is, they just don't have many options the Lakers do
No.
otherwise. Cam Reddish is nothing for them. Uh, Max Christie, we saw tonight, he was nothing for them. Rui Hashimura is by definition the definition of a streaky player. And they just don't have many options to go to. And I know JJ, when he puts them out there, he's hoping that that fire will catch with Austin. And once again, but the problem is they don't run plays for him. They just give it out to him, and he'll get the ball like out at the top of the key, and he'll try to shoot contested threes. That's not how you get players confidence when they need it. They need to run specific plays where it gets him open to get good, clean looks at the basket so he can become that player he was earlier this season again. But JJ, for all of his when they were drafting, making oh, I'm going to design plays for us for Dalton Connect. Yeah, with those plays are long gone out of the playbook right now, and maybe it's justified because of how bad Dalton Connect has played. Mark,
Yeah, no, you're right, but I
you
also
could only
think if
do
you
so much for players, and they ultimately you got to say they got to do it themselves.
no, it's true, but I don't feel like JJ's there, the one sort of ostracizing him. I don't feel like JJ's the main issue for why Dalton's having his struggles. I also see it from a different perspective. I've watched a few games now where, AR isn't the greatest distributor. So he's become our primary ball handler now, behind LeBron. And the ball's not moving as much. So a player like Dalton, who needs ball movement, isn't getting it. So whether the plays are being run for him or drawn up for him and it's the ball's not getting to him, I'm not too sure. But for me, Eric says it well there in the chat. Dalton's completely lost his confidence. So how
Yeah.
do you get that back? Is it the G League? Is it okay? You run a quarter of plays for him. That
Or
doesn't
take
seem
the
to have
ball more
helped.
to the basket. Eric
Yeah,
says, get more mid-range looks where he does have a nice
true.
touch. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, something a lot easier for him. But again, running plays for him shows some confidence in the kid that he doesn't have right now in himself.
yeah. Look, Alan says it really well, man, and I feel that so badly. Like we can talk about Dalton and his struggles, but our primary ball handlers are LeBron James and Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves isn't a point guard, so that's an issue. LeBron James is a point guard slash small forward, power forward, whatever he is. Like it's just not happening. The ball movement is so poor, Gerald. Like you just have to watch other games to see how much better they move the ball. Even teams like Detroit, even Brooklyn, like tonight, they sort of move the ball on par with us. The movement of the ball is just pathetic, and
Yeah,
we
but
saw
but
that.
Xbox, I'll get back at you with this. If you have the players right now that the Lakers do, why would you move the ball? That's why we're seeing the ISO LeBron on five, Austin on five, or LeBron and Austin on five. Is because the fact is they just don't have players
But
that
then,
are good
yeah,
enough at making shots right now.
well, LeBron 2 months ago was saying Dalton Connect was the best draft ever made. So has he lost complete faith in the guy? I mean, if he's not going to pass the ball to dudes that are open, how are they going to get more confidence? Like, I think it's a catch 22. The people are stuck in the middle, however you want to call it. We're just, something's not right with the team. We're not put together. I mean, it doesn't
And then the coaching
excuse.
again. I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
You
no
guys
longer
know more
going to
about
give him a
coaching than
pass.
me. Yeah. Fine.
I'm no longer going to give JJ a pass,
Okay.
because again, he's a rookie. He's had his ups and downs. There are times he's been out coached. The last game, I thought he coached a much better job because in the second half he made the adjustments, and Miami didn't. But in this game, it was clear that he didn't really have much of a way or impact into the game as far as the adjustments that he made. And YYC remembered what I said during the course of the game as far as on playback. D'Lo is out there. You talk about Austin Reaves and Dalton Connect being like tissue as you show off your Mario Kart Switch. Uh, they're like
DJ.
tissue on defense. D'Lo is horrid on defense. He is a cone on defense. Why didn't they go at him? Uh, I know Austin scored 38, but a lot of them was on D'Angelo. I know they wanted to go ahead
Mm.
and create this back and forth between them because they're such good friends, and they did at
Yeah.
least at in the closing minutes. But I would have liked to seen LeBron or Austin repeatedly go at or whoever D'Angelo's on, who just go straight at D'Angelo time and time again and make them pay for having him out there. But that's a coaching issue that JJ needs to learn and pick up on when he's out there. And again, these are things that if we can see them, he needs to see them as well.
just like play devil's advocate a bit, don't you reckon JJ be having some of these conversations with the boys? Like, I mean, LeBron James is apparently one of his good mates. The thing I see about JJ is that, and I said it yesterday as well. Like, he seemed like after a game like tonight, I can't wait to see his press conference to see how he reacts. But he does seem to say the right things anyway in terms of the messages that he's giving in the media that he's telling the boys, but sometimes they're going the opposite way. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like LeBron James has got to be a little bit accountable as well. Like, if we're sort of saying there, Gerald, when he's in the game that the ball's not moving, I mean, he's like JJ's not out there. It's LeBron, and LeBron's a 40-year-old player, one of the goats. So he's got to be able to control the game a lot better than what he is. I don't know where this is where we're going to go down a really slippery slope. If we start sort of looking at JJ as maybe being the problem at the moment, because I honestly don't feel it. I just don't feel that way. And unless we're prepared to, give him a good squad, or a squad that actually makes a bit of sense, he's not the issue for me. It's again, we know we can't do anything right now about these guys, but as players, it's Rob. The construction of the squad is super poor. An aging superstar. AD wasn't out there again tonight, guys, and AD's gone missing in a lot of fourth quarters this year. So I don't know, Gerald. Like for me, I just want to keep backing JJ because what is the answer to get rid of him and get another coach? I'm not.
You
Not
can't
saying
because
that, but yeah,
they're paying 2 coaches already. They're not gonna
already
pay
I
for
know.
a third Xbox.
Yeah, I know, but I also think you got to give the guy a little bit of time. And from what I see in the way he talks and the passion he displays, I like it, and I think he knows the game. I think there's obviously a bit of a communication struggle at the moment, and it might be LeBron's had about 10, 11 coaches, Gerald. You look at a guy like Steph Curry, two coaches. Joker, one coach. Like, sometimes when the things keep repeating themselves, you might be the issue. And I'm not all putting this down to LeBron James, guys, but what I'm sort of saying is that I want to be a bit more, not empathetic, but I want to back JJ a bit more. And look, we've been competitive this year when we all thought we weren't going to be. Tonight wasn't competitive. Yeah, we won, and all of us think that there's not a great future in terms of winning the NBA championship this year. But I don't know if Ham was there, would we be in a worse position? I think so. So that's what I'm going to keep saying. And JJ's a young man, and I want to back him for a little bit longer. So I'm going to blame him for certain moments, and some of the in-game calls are very frustrating. But you got guys like LeBron and stuff that are running the point and controlling the game. And if we're talking about poor ball movement, it's got to start with the guys that are moving the ball, and that's LeBron and AR. Not to say that they are the scapegoats for tonight, because they were the reason we won. So it's just
Once
we're
again,
in a really funny position, aren't we?
oh, absolutely, we are, my friend. But the
Mm.
Lakers, you know what? Maybe they're exceeding expectations at 22-17, which they are now. Maybe they are exceeding expectations when it comes to the standings. Who they has at sixth place? I know it's not where Robert and others would like them. It's not where I would like them, but maybe it is the fact that they are closer to what we think they were, and they're playing a little bit above that level now, which is right where they're at in sixth place in the Western Conference. Xbox says, okay, I see you. But I know that Johnny might be doing a wrap up for his channels,
Yeah,
Clutch Talk
true.
Lakers Corner. And Joe is on, I believe, with Empire Jeff talking about the Dodgers signing Sasaki, the pitcher from
That's
Japan.
right.
So he'll be there talking Dodgers for until he's blue in the face. I'm sorry, Dodger Blue. That was a bad joke. But again, it is, of course, the Lakers winning 102-101 uh, with the Clippers dome, the wall, so to speak, that are guided to help the Clippers well right now. Not as well as Denver maybe or OKC, but they are playing
No,
at a
playing good.
decent level.
Mm.
Kawhi, I have a feeling, will show up when they play.
Yep.
Your thoughts on meeting the Clippers? It's been said by JJ after the game that it looks like they'll do everything they can to get AD prepared to play. All I say is I hope so because what I saw tonight ain't going to beat the Clippers on Sunday.
No, it's not. And look, AD for me will play. I don't think his injury is serious, and typically he needs a bit of a rest game every now and then. They've obviously looked at the game tonight and thought we were going to smash them, and that hasn't happened. So unless AD's got a serious injury that I don't know about, he's got to play against the Clippers guys, or else we are absolutely no chance. So expect to see AD out there, but Gerald, I mean, they didn't only beat the Clippers by 60 points. I think they won the next game by 30 or 40 odd points as well. So they're on a pretty hot streak in terms of their winning margin. But yeah, if Kawhi plays the way we're playing, we're going to be in real strife. But the thing that you always got to remember about that type of matchup is it's a rivalry game. So you never, and unfortunately, the rivalry game between us seemingly went their way for a few seasons. But you never know when you're playing a rival like them or like Boston in terms of what you step up and do. So I hope the boys can step up. But tonight, it wasn't a good sign. The ball movement was poor. Everything was poor. So Clippers are going to be licking their lips, Gerald. Like they're playing really, really well. We've had some bad losses lately against teams like Dallas and things like that. So unless our boys all turn up, and I'm looking at you, Rui, and I'm looking at you, my boy Gabe, and the rest of you, unless you all contribute at an even level, don't expect to beat the Clippers, especially not at the Intuit Dome. And yeah, that arena looks sick. I'd love to go there to check out the technology, but I'm not interested in watching the Clippers play whatsoever. So whatever to them, whatever to the Intuit Dome, just rock up there, boys, and try get a win, a smash and grab. I'd love that, but
I'll
chances
I'll
are slim.
say I'll say this: if Zubats outplays AD on Sunday, I'm not going to be happy. You're going to hear it from me. You're going to hear how the Lakers made probably one of the
True.
worst trades. It's the top five worst trades. Number one is Westbrook. I understand how that set back the organization. And at the time, I said it was the worst trade they've ever made, and I will stick to that. But this Zubats trade is not looking much better. And if he does
Oh,
outplay AD, which is a possibility, because guys, if you take a look at what he's doing on the season, he's playing at a near all-star level, and the kid's really playing well. So if he outplays AD on Sunday, I'm really going to be super pissed. But I'll just leave it at that. But Robert Wheeler has something for us. With the Lakers, do you focus more on how they play against tough competitors or weak competition? I focus more on tough games like the Denver lost the Wiz. No change how they're viewed, but he likes against tougher matchups. I see it as far as how you're playing habits. I look for bad habits. I don't care the competition. I look at how the rotations are. Look how that they play against their competition, no matter good or bad. Do they run into bad habits? Is their rotations good? How are they on defense? Are they matching up well? Is there those things I look on a game by game basis? I don't exactly look at it as far as against how they look against tougher or not as
yeah.
tough competition. Tonight it was the fact that they just, in many ways, seemed to go through the motions, and a lot was riding on how the other seven or eight other Lakers that were going to play tonight outside of LeBron and Austin. How were they going to be able to play tonight? And they didn't play well. They didn't hold up their end of the bargain for the most part, and it was very disappointing to see. So I focus more on how they play on a game by game basis, how they're playing as far as with confidence. Are they doing this, taking the steps that winning teams need to do that I've seen over the course of my life? Because there's usually a pattern that winning teams will will execute on a regular basis in order for them to get to that next level. And one of the things that has concerned me, Robert, that may not have caught is that this is, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is not the first time the Lakers have squandered this season against any type of competition. squandered a near or at double-digit lead late in the ball game. They've done this several times now, and these things, it's not just about poor execution down the stretch. It's not just about the rotations or who you have out there. It's about how JJ is implementing the offense and defense late in games, which is of concern to me. So all
Mm.
these things are factoring in no matter who the competition is. So I don't always look at it as far as them playing down to their competition or playing up to their competition, because they may well go ahead and beat the Clippers by 20, but it's how they play, how they execute is really what I look at on a game by game basis, Mark, on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Look, I sort of look at it as well, just the basic. I don't know if I analyzed the game too simply because I sort of didn't grow up, playing the game. I played soccer, as you know, but I just base it on the eye test. And you just have to watch Denver for a quarter and watch us for a quarter to know that they're on a different level. They can lose to the Wiz because, they might be on a back to back, or they had a, crappy plane flight, or, the Wiz played good for, at their 8 or 9 or 10 wins that they get a season. They stepped up for that particular game. I base things on the eye test, and Robert, would have seen the game tonight and seen how poorly our team played. And yes, we had a wicked performance by AR. Man, it was a special performance, but the game was so poor that we're not even really focusing on that, because the ball movement and everything, the fact that we needed so many points by LeBron and AR to win a game against Brooklyn, it's not a good sign to me. And just basic things on the eye test. I mean, I talked about it last night, Gerald. I've been watching Memphis over the last few weeks, and my eye's been telling me that they're a really good team and in good form, and they absolutely smashed the Spurs tonight in San Antonio, and we lost to the Spurs at home. So, you can look at results in 15 different ways and analyze it all you want, but for me, the eye test is the eye test. We play poor basketball, and I hate it. Like, I love, there's the club there, FC Barcelona, because they play the best football in the world. They play team football. They're known for that, and I want the Lakers to get back to that. I want the Lakers to play a nice brand of basketball, but all of this isolation stuff, it's just not working out. And it's not going to take us far. When you're playing, it's a team sport, guys. Like, you need to move the ball, and we're not. So my eye test isn't, I'm not going to look at results and just isolate a Denver against the Wiz or whatever, because you can look tonight. Denver won by 20 points in Miami. Miami gave us a tough game. I mean, we did beat them, but the eye test is the eye test. We're shot at the moment in terms of, the bigger picture, because we can't beat teams that move the ball. And we've beaten Brooklyn tonight by 1 point. Brooklyn are tanking. Like, I love Brooklyn. They've got a Spanish coach, a Spanish rookie coach, who I want to do so well. But they're tanking, guys. That's why they lost by 60 points. Where was Cam Thomas? Where was Cam John? They didn't have their players tonight, guys, and we lost by a point. I mean, we won by a point. So, the eye test, Robert, for me, is that we're in a really bad spot right now. Despite what our standing and record might say, we're just not playing well.
And your guy, Sandy Aldama, who, remember earlier this year, I said probably was somebody that you have to look at for sixth man of the year.
Yeah,
29 points, 8 rebounds. As Sharon said, they got 60 points off their bench.
yeah,
We are lucky to get 20 on any given day, which is kind of depressing when you think about it, that the Lakers do not give any kind of support or consistent help off the bench. So it's kind of frustrating there. But yes, the Grizzlies, who have been playing up and down as of late, they do get the victory in San Antonio. Again, San Antonio starting to fade and maybe
mm,
head back to where maybe probably head back to the mean around exactly where they're projected to be. So we'll have to wait and see how that flows out, unless Wembanyama can still pick them up and get them into a position where they can still contend. But it's him shooting 8 of 19 is not going to get it done. That's for sure. But again, the Lakers for us win 102-101. Um, Heading into what we see with the Clippers coming up, that to me, I think is an important game, not only for positioning, but also as well, I think for confidence in the team. AD should be back for that game. Again, he'll be playing against a Zubats, Ivica Zubats, who is really playing at a high level. So I think he should not take it for granted he's going to dominate that matchup on Sunday.
Oh, well, you can't. And even at times when AD does dominate a game, what we've been having issue with him is that in the fourth quarter, he goes missing. He'll get his 30 points and 10 rebounds, but it's all up until the third quarter or, midway through the fourth. And then he just absolutely disappears and doesn't want the ball. So we need AD to look at a guy like Zubats and want that challenge. He's done it before with other players. You think about the performance he put on Giannis was it last season, and when he dropped it, 40 odd, which was a wicked performance. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just a super competitive guy, and I'm not sure AD's of that same. I'm not saying I'm AD, that's for sure. But in terms of my mindset, I'd be licking my lips knowing that I was playing Zubats, a former Laker that, the Laker fan base misses because they think he could have been an asset for us, which, he's got to want these challenges, Gerald. Like, the guy's not 40, he's in his early 30s, and he has still, despite us not wanting it, the opportunity to be the 1A player on a Laker team. What more do you want as a basketball player? Like, if you don't want that challenge, AD, then give it up, bro. Look for a trade back to New Orleans when you could score 40 points a game, but you lost every game that you played. He's got to want some of these challenges, Gerald. And I keep saying it about AD, and I'm going to be super critical and super harsh. But when you have the opportunity to be a 1A player, it's not about three quarters; it's about four quarters. And he's the biggest reason that we can win games against teams like the Clippers. And he's got man, I hope he plays. And if he comes back, I hope he's got the right mindset. For me, it's just, we've said this before, but he's the kind of guy you just want to go out there and just sort of want to shake him and just go, AD, bro, you're the most talented player on the field. I call it a field, the court. He's a top 75 player, whether or not you think that's right or wrong. Like, I don't know, man. I don't feel that's right when you see what he does in third quarter. So I just want something from AD, man. If he plays, I want him to step up and go, boys, this is on me. But he hasn't done that for me this year. So let's see how AD plays. But the signs tonight about the ball movement and the way the Clippers are playing, it's going to be a really tough game. But hopefully we can just get in a different mindset, start moving the ball a bit, and guys like Rui and that can contribute and the superstars step up. But yeah, it's going to be a super tough game, man. But hopefully the rivalry aspect makes us want it. JJ's a former player there too. I'm sure he would love to beat that team.
Corbina, I wouldn't even stress out over it. I mean, Miles Turner, Laker Tom has been trying to trade him for years. And if you're Indiana, why would you get rid of your starting center? And at this point, they don't have options. They lost two of their backup centers for the season with Achilles tendon issues. Thomas Bryant is their backup center right now in Indiana, so they have no recourse other than they're going to stick with Miles Turner. So I wouldn't even stress Iquabina as far as trying to worry about a trade for him because he is someone who has immense talent but doesn't always show it, as evidenced by this year. He's only 15-6 as far as is concerned. A guy with that kind of talent that has range out to the 3-point line could seemingly, if he wants to, turn it on at any point in time, but he doesn't. He just, he meanders, as I'm using that word again, throughout various parts of the season. And it just seems like there's more that he could have put more on the table. He just seems like he left so much out of his game at times, Mark. It's very frustrating. But yeah, he would be a great addition, but I don't think anybody here should stress over it because Indiana, like the Lakers, are a team that are fighting for a playoff spot right now. And if you go ahead and trade your center, That seems very curious for a team that made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, Mark.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Thank you,
Uh,
Must Hater. I love the double
yeah,
subscribe
I
and
know.
double like.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. Much respect. I don't know how you do the double like, but we appreciate it all the same.
Hey, the fact
Maybe
that a guy
a
named
double account.
Hater likes and likes
Yeah.
it twice, I give him nothing but props for that. There you go.
Yeah, and you know
Oh,
what? Shout out to the chat because there seems to be a lot of positivity and love tonight, and we've had maybe
yes.
a couple of incidents in the last few streams where it hasn't been that way. So let's move
Yes.
forward. Love the chat. Man, for
Let me
me,
ask you
Miles.
this though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead with Miles. But go
Well,
ahead, Miles Turner. I know sports
yeah,
baby.
I'll touch
Well, the
base on.
sport. Your fellow Australian sports baby would like to hear that answer. So go ahead on Miles Turner.
Okay, yeah. Look, Miles. Oh, shout out to SB, who is a big Pacers fan, and they have been playing well from where they started. So always keep a little bit of a eye on them for SB. But I don't know, Miles Turner feels like a bit of a obsession we've had, not dissimilar to Cam Reddish. Not saying they're the same player. Miles Turner could offer us a lot more, but we seem to have this obsession with him going back umpteen seasons now, where we're linked with him and I don't know, man. I mean, the time for me to get him was, maybe a season or two ago. He's still a very good player, and he could obviously we don't have any other bigs, man. Like any other, like we brought in Jamison. That guy's a clown. So yeah, of course, bringing in Miles and to play with, yeah, Miles to play with AD, man, that would help for sure. But what would we be giving up to get him? That's the question. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen it for sure, guys. But yeah, it's not going to happen now. But focusing just quickly on Indiana, mad respect to them. They've bounced back really, really well. And guys,
Yes.
they made the Western Conference Finals last year for a reason. And
Yeah.
some of those wins, that they've been on are without Halliburton. So they'll be competitive in the East, that's for sure. But we got to worry about ourselves. Miles isn't coming. We obsessed with Are we obsessed with Cam? That's worked out like whatever. And now we're still obsessing with Miles. So I don't know, man. We for me, it's more about obsessing with changing some of those stars that we have, rather than trying to add, a bit of junk to make them look good. Is where I'm at anyway. What were you going to say
Appreciate it.
before, Joel?
Well, Alan YST, I got you covered if he wants to come on tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share the stream with him. But I want to just say what we were talking about earlier. Oh, Lightning Bliss says he wants Walker, Kessler, Vucevic, or Jonas. I wouldn't trade my ones for them. Those guys, yeah, I know Vucevic scored 40 tonight on the Bulls, but is it worth messing up your future or getting rid of some picks in your future? Because the first rounds, they want the first rounders for those guys, and somebody might balk at it. As far might take it, a shot at it for Kessler or Vucevic. Jonas, I think you can get now with some seconds, but I just again, these guys are not moving the needle for you guys. These guys are just not good enough to move the needle
No,
for the Lakers. And in doing so, you're getting rid of your future opportunities beyond what LeBron and AD will do for you because they'll be gone. So, yeah, I'm just concerned that Rob will make a hasty trade and it will be probably to our detriment because of it, or a small term gain for a long-term loss. But I know Christian Wood has been talked about. Corbina said he's stealing a salary, holding a spot. I just want to say this in regards to Christian Wood. He's still on a minimum. If he's going to go ahead and steal a salary spot for us, yeah, that's not good at all. But Vando, what is Vando doing right now? Vando is stealing a much larger salary slot for us. So, yeah, if that's the case, I would love to go ahead and see Vando being moved, but I don't see that happening anytime soon because we have so many years that we owe for his contract. So I don't see that happening with Vando. Vando's the one who's the bigger thief right now for that contract, but Wood is not helping matters at all because he hasn't done much his entire tenure as a Laker, and of course he's been injured all season. Alan, I sent you the link. If you want to join us, please go ahead and do so. But you're always welcome to join us anytime at all. Just give me the heads up at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. I
Man,
sent you the link. So if you want to join us tonight, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, in the future, just let me know and I'll send you a new link each and every time out. But it is, of course, the Lakers. They do win 102-101. They do. Yeah, it's gonna. Everybody keeps talking about you, Mr. Holy Man, because you got the lights behind you and all that.
yeah,
But
I know.
this is, of
Sorry,
course,
guys. It's as you know, you guys are at night time, but in Australia it's 4:30 in the afternoon. So I can only do what I can do. So I've tried my best there, but there's still a bit. So I'll try to cover it with my head, but best endeavors. But just quickly, what a really nice comment by Lightning. And I
yes.
don't think LeBron's the GOAT, but yeah, we just try to keep it real here and also be positive as well and try
Well,
to
but if you don't
engage.
think he's the GOAT, do you still think he's one of the 10 best players of all time?
Well, I mean, the other day Dwight Smith had an issue with me saying SGA was the second best player in the league. Apparently, that wasn't good enough. So, yeah, of course, LeBron's in the top 10. And I was saying it the other day, man. I watched LeBron within the last week, Joe. What I did was I actually went and watched the first couple of high school games that he had. And man, come on, guys. The guy's an absolute baller. We know that. He's elite as, but for me and what I know about the game and how much I've shout out to Joey. I'll just quickly finish this point, but what I know about the game and what I've seen, yeah, LeBron's not the GOAT because I base GOAT status on what I've seen with Messi. And Messi won so much with Barcelona. He won the World Cup with Argentina. Like you got to win, guys, and four chips versus six or five for Kobe or five for Duncan. It doesn't add up for me. Like if he gets five or six chips, then you start having a completely different conversation. So he's super, super close, but he's not the GOAT for me. That's all. And I don't just John is LeBron's biggest advocate, and we love John. It doesn't matter. Everyone has their own opinion, but for me, he's not the GOAT. But shout out to Lightning and Corbina. Such a great chat. But let's let Joe cook a bit, I reckon.
Robert, Allen, yeah, guys have been all great in the chat. Once again, the Lakers do win 102-101. Joe, despite the very concerning victory for the Lakers, you are a happy man. Congratulations on Sasaki now being a Dodger. We talked a little bit about it that during course of playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Um, John's yeah, shout out to John, man. He's struggling through right now. That
Yeah, he's
just want
not
to say
well.
yeah, he's not well right now. So big shout out to John. I hope he feels better, and I hope he gets everything going. Please help him feel better by giving him a like and subscribe next time on his channels, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. But Joe, coming back in here, Mr. Simblades with a Y.com, bringing in here with the game. A very unimpressive victory. I know that Robert Wheeler earlier with his question of the day said he evaluates the Lakers against tougher opponents, not necessarily against uh, opponents such as this, that the Lakers have a tendency to play down to. I look for habits. I look for things as far as areas of weaknesses and strength overall when they're whoever the opponents are. What can the Lakers do to maximize their potential each and every game? And are they doing that? Today, I know there were some tough shots by LeBron, and I know it was LeBron on 5 and Austin Reeves on 5. If it wasn't LeBron on 5, it was Austin Reeves on 5. It was not the prettiest of games. It seemed like it was two guys on an entire team. It got the victory tonight, but you come away unimpressed by what the Lakers did this evening, even without AD.
Yeah, it's the Dodgers have a propensity to play like they're on top. They're just not fundamentally sound. I don't think they're coached to play smart
You said the
basketball.
Dodgers or the Lakers?
I'm talking about the
You
Lakers.
start off, you start off with the Dodgers.
Did I say Dodgers?
Yeah, you did say
I
Dodgers.
might have. I
He
might have.
just he came over from a Dodgers show. Everyone, it's okay.
Sorry if I said
Okay.
Dodgers. Sorry, I meant Lakers. Yeah, the Lakers. Just watching tonight, there was some passes I couldn't comprehend at that point. LeBron being one of them too. There was this, what was it? The pass in the third quarter. I think they were up 4, and he ended up just heaving it to, I can't remember who was running the break. I think it might have been Vincent. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's like, this is your number one guy setting the example. You know, we're talking about the issues with LeBron. The issues with LeBron, and he's supposed to be this high IQ guy. He doesn't hold any of his players, and he doesn't even hold himself accountable to playing sound basketball for 48 minutes. He takes too many chances. He makes too many passes that are unwarranted. They're just not warranted. Why are you doing this? You see that these guys mimic him too. So if there's no accountability, you obviously don't see. I've been waiting for JJ to yell at LeBron this year. Has he yelled at him yet?
No, but let me say this. I don't want to say this too much of a defense of LeBron, but he did say earlier this week, because of what's gone with the fires, he is also, him and his family have been displaced. I know we haven't talked about this much at all, and I know I can see you rolling your eyes already.
What was it before then? What was it before the fires? Don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit, LeBron. No. You were doing this shit in November, in December. Don't blame the fires. This is exactly what I'm talking about. He is an excuse machine. And it resonates through the team. It's resonated. The shit usually runs down, right? The shit's gone up. The only place that shit usually goes up is in prison. That's what we're in right now with this guy. Seriously? Is that what he's saying? Is that his excuse for throwing a stupid pass? You almost got beat by the Nets, who got their ass whipped by 59. I'm tired. I'm tired of these excuses. I just got off of Empire Jeff's show. I was calm. I was relaxed. We were talking. I didn't even say a curse word. Okay? I was coming on here to talk about, geez, what the hell were these guys doing, letting these guys stay in all the way? They won the game good, but then I'm like, what is this? And then you tell me this, and I'm like, really? Even that guy's pulling that crap? Even really he's pulling that crap? Because that's what he does. The guy doesn't take any accountability for anything he does. That's why people don't like LeBron James. It has nothing to do with his fame or how great he is, and people are jealous and all that. It has nothing to do with this. His problem, and the reason why he'll never be the greatest, is because he's a chump when it matters. And the reason why he's won and had a phenomenal career is because he has been that talented. He's gotten away with this because he's outwardly talented. And he's got the genetics of a god. Right? Enough of the excuses. Seriously, I've had it with this guy. I've had it with all of these excuses. Just because there's a fire going on doesn't mean you need to pass the ball like an idiot down the court and get a turnover at least 5 times a game. What does that have to do with the fire? Kobe was killing himself in 2004. He didn't know if he was going to go to jail for 20 years. He's hitting game-winning shots in Portland. And he doesn't know if he's going to be back in the next game. And you're going to give me that excuse when nothing happened to your house too on top of it? That's the shit you're going to say? When before this stuff happened, you were still doing that shit. So what was it? What are you, a mind reader? What are you, Nostradamus? Oh, well, the fires in the future affected me. That's why I was passing the way I was in December 5th. It's fucking garbage, man. This is trash. They look like garbage tonight. Not because AD was out. It's because that's how they've looked all year. You run garbage, you look like garbage. You look like garbage. You play like garbage. Enough. Enough of the excuse. And no one's telling this fucking guy. No one tells him. Everyone kisses his ass. And the only ones that criticize him go sit in a little corner and do the little typing, and then that's how they say it. When is someone going to go up to his face and tell him? There was a fan that did. There was a fan that they caught, but the cameras didn't stay on him that long. Why do they keep protecting this guy, by the way? Why is he so protected? Because I never saw Kobe protected like this. Why? Yeah, no more. Done. I'm done with this guy. I'm done with his bullshit. I have to watch because I have no choice. But I'm done with these excuses, my God. And you wonder why these guys play like chumps. This is your reason. John, I love you. I'm sorry that you're having problems with your stomach, but your boy will never, ever, ever be number one. Michael, Jeffrey, Jordan is number one. And if you need to know, come talk to me. Come visit me in Temecula, and I'll tell you over some really good dinner, lunch, and I'll really break it down for you. Seriously.
Make sure they pay though. Make sure they pay for your time.
No, you can't afford the places I go, man. Come on.
Shout out to John.
Once again, it is the Lakers
That
fast
was
break.
great.
The Lakers do win 102-1, 101. The Lakers are now 22-17, still sixth place in the Western Conference. Mark, again, with this team, there are some concerns. Games like these bring out those concerns as far as what they do, what they have. And I know that when Joe's not there, you're shouting and angry just like he is, because you can see that this team, in order to get it where they wants to be, has to go ahead and finish off these lousy teams in a lot better fashion. I mean, LeBron should have played only 20 minutes tonight,
Yeah,
and gotten rest. I looked at the Clippers box score when they won by 59. None of the main players played more than 23 minutes. Yet they can't do that here for the Lakers. God forbid they would want an easy victory to make things easier on their team, Mark.
and the one time I got pretty psycho at JJ was when we did actually have the ability to take some of these players off with 5 minutes to go, and he didn't do it. So yeah, I mean, tonight was a shock. We spoke about it yesterday, guys. We hoped and thought that the game might be over by halftime, and it hasn't worked out that way. So the boys have had to play, blah blah blah. But I probably want to go back to Joe as soon as possible, because I think he's making some really great points there. But on his point, and I can't go as hard as Joe, but I do feel the same way about him. And I was trying to explain that probably not as well about LeBron. And tonight, guys are going crazy. He's had a great performance, but the team's playing shit because of him. And he's the primary ball handler. He's the primary leader in the team. And he's an issue, guys. Like it's yeah, at what point are we gonna? And like Joe says, he's not really held accountable. He sort of gets away with everything. It's always the coach's fault. It's always some other player's fault. This year, we've traded D'Lo, who was our main issue, but we're still playing crap. So, when are we going to hold the guy accountable and to that GOAT standard? I've got serious question marks over it. And I also then I fold to his best mate AD, who I put in the same category. We've sort of got unaccountable leaders, and I hope that changes. But I'm just going to quickly just answer Robert's point, and we'll let yourself and Joe go there. But
Yeah,
are you
okay, let
more
me go ahead and
frustrated?
answer.
Yeah, you want to
Let me go
ask
set
that?
up for you guys. Yep.
All right.
For Xbox and Joe, are you more frustrated that the Lakers aren't playing up to their fullest potential, or that their potential is not high enough to make a finals run? LA's floor higher this year, no plan. Well, I mean, Robert, you have evaluated the Lakers at a higher prospectus than anyone on the staff. I think, except for Laker Tom, who magically picks them sixth in the Western Conference, but has them going to the finals. So, okay, I don't know how that works, but okay, it absolutely, I guess, does for him. But Robert has them again, thinking them to be a top four seed in the Western Conference by year's end. And I applaud him for being that positive on the Lakers. But getting back to his question, I'll start off with you, Mark. Are you more frustrated that the Lakers aren't playing up to their fullest potential, or could they be playing above what we think their potential is?
I'm a pretty positive dude, Robert. So I don't know what you're drinking or smoking or eating or your good behavior, but I love some of it, man. Because yeah, no, we're cooked, mate. Like, and you can look at it a few different ways. Their fullest potential is not good enough, and we're not playing at our highest potential either. So it's we're like we're stuck in the middle. I said it before. We're stuck in quicksand. We're not going anywhere fast. And yeah, like I'm frustrated because the eye test for me, I want to watch good basketball, guys, even if we're losing. I've always said this about Barcelona. If they lose but play well, I feel good. We play terrible basketball. And that's where it hurts me the most. I'd love to see a change in how we, and that's not JJ, man. I can't. JJ's not coaching to play badly. It's our ball handlers. We're gonna say it. It's LeBron and some of the other guys in the team that just don't seem to, yeah, put the game plan together. And I just hate. Yeah, I love watching us play, but I hate the basketball that we play. So either which way I look at that question, Robert, highest potential, full potential. We're not a super competitive team in this league. But what are your thoughts, Joe, on that one?
If they played fundamentally sound basketball, if they cared about how to set up their angles on passes, when to shoot, when not to shoot, when to do a bounce pass, when to throw a lob, I understand there's going to be turnovers, and I understand that the defense that they play may dictate those turnovers. But if you watch the Lakers play basketball, 90% of their turnovers are done because of how they react to defense or even just the way they take chances when they don't have to. And it comes from arrogance. It comes from arrogance. And I know Sharon is on here and she disagrees with what we're saying, but Sharon, I need you to open your eyes a little bit. Okay? You got to get your fandom out of your head. LeBron James is a very, very arrogant, undisciplined player sometimes, and you cannot deny that. And it shows, and he's the leader of this team. That means if he does this, everyone else does it. I saw numerous times in the past seeing coaches lambaste their star players on the court. Kobe, Tim Duncan. If those guys are going to get yelled at for doing dumb things, who the hell is LeBron? And why isn't anyone doing that? It matters now more than ever because there's a lack of talent. When you don't have enough talent to compete the way you're supposed to, you make up ground by being fundamental and smart. Is that wrong, fellas and ladies? Is that asking for too much? An athletic freak can get away with a lot of things because they can make up ground height-wise, vertical-wise, speed-wise. Maybe he's got huge hands. He can risk going by somebody and going behind his back. Sure. But what if you're Dalton Connect, who's not vertically excellent? What about back and forth on the court in terms of speed? Lateral movement. Folks, basketball is not a complicated sport. And LeBron James is supposed to be the best of his era, which I agree. And he can still play. Why does he allow this? 102 to 101 against the Nets in your building. And you want me to be happy about what might come later? Especially after you got your ass whooped by the Texas teams the way you did? Am I supposed to be impressed by the Miami win? Now it's the Fire's excuse. Okay. Maybe in March he'll blame St. Patrick's Day's green beer.
Or the McDonald's green milkshake.
Bit of Guinness.
So
it's tiresome. Am I the only one that's tired of this, guys? Seriously,
again,
I can't believe he pulled that out of his ass.
Again, Joe, and I'll go to Nick T's super chat in a second. Thank you, Nick T, by the way, for the super chat. But Joe, I was in the time we were met. I was more a defender of LeBron as far as the social media is concerned. But as the years have gone on, I give up. I have nothing. I just absolutely have gotten fatigued of it. You know what he's done over the course of time. yes, the excuses are there. This, whether you want to say it's a valid or not so valid excuse, I'll leave that up to you because it is a very troubling time for those in Southern California. So I am not going to be like Joe and just lambaste it, saying it's just another basic excuse because he has had his family, loaded up in a hotel during the course of the fires and whatnot. So again, that's something he decided to do with his family. Maybe he was, in this area. It's near his home. I can understand it's a troubling time for all those out there in Southern California, but he is paid $50 million a year to play the game of basketball at an extremely high level. And when he doesn't, this team suffers greatly. And today, if he didn't give us, outside of those turnovers and those dumb mistakes, a high level performance, he did take a couple threes that I just thought was just absolutely just crazy. But, again, when you have no help that you're given. Rui is having a bad game. Gabe Vincent's the only one who's halfway decent, and he still couldn't hit barely a shot from outside from three. It just, when you have no help at all other than Austin Reaves, it's really troubling. And that should be the excuse for this team, is the fact that they have a terrible supporting cast. And unless you're getting premier performances from select players, you're not going to be where Robert, I, and everyone else wants them to be at the upper echelon of the Western Conference. It's just that simple. This team needs a better supporting cast than what it has right now. So maybe LeBron may not make as many of those lame turnovers, or Austin Reaves have so much pressure on him to go ahead and have so much usage on him. It's just, maybe if Rob would do his job a little bit better or a lot better, maybe some of these problems could alleviate themselves, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Mark, your thoughts on that before I go ahead and get it over you guys on the super chat that Nick dropped there. It's
Yeah.
just the fact that the supporting cast is just so bad and they're playing so horrible right now. I don't see where LeBron, Austin Reaves, when he's playing well, can find that type of help if AD's not in there.
Look, the supporting cast is playing bad, but haven't we heard about LeBron, that he's this great elevator of his teammates, etc.? Like, I'm sorry, basketball is a team sport, but it starts with the superstars. So yeah, you've got a supporting cast that is playing poorly, but
And I'm not
and
going to start on his defense because his defense I have no defense
ah,
for.
mate, and tonight, honestly, like,
Pun
okay,
made.
well, and you know what? Tonight he got, he did get fouled under the basket, and then he does this little feigny injury where it was, and they had two open threes by the time he got back. Thankfully, they missed them. But yeah, man, for me, I don't know, guys. Like, the dude's on 50 million, plus he's got his son there. Like, it has to start with him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you can talk about guys like Rui, which I have tonight. I've gone absolutely savage on him. I've slayed Gabe pretty much every time I've been on here. Shake Milkshake's come in, done nothing. You can go through the players in the team that aren't playing well, but LeBron is the leader of the team, and he's the primary ball handler, which I keep saying. And we're not playing well because of the ball movement that he starts. So, what do you do, man? I don't know. Like, these other guys, like 2 weeks ago, was saying Christie's good. Now he's a poor role player. Like, I don't know. LeBron's got a lot to do with the way that we're playing, so we're going to hold him accountable. And guys that are on $2 million can't be expected to play as elite as the guys on 50 mil. And I'm not only focusing on LeBron guys. That's who we're talking about tonight because he played. And admittedly, he was one of the reasons we won the game. But I'm just as savage on Anthony Davis, who keeps letting us down in fourth quarters. So unless these leaders step up, when you play a team sport, the leaders are the key in the team. And LeBron's always talked about it as a great lifter of teammates. I just don't see that at the moment. And I don't expect, guys, LeBron to be able to play fourth quarter, 4 quarters, and score 50 points every game. And no one's saying that. But we've all seen enough to know that, man, It's poor ball movement. It's isolation basketball. It's lack of defending. It's all like, I don't understand the fundamentals of the game like you guys do. Like, you played the game growing up, but I can see it, and the fundamentals we just don't do. And unless we get stuff like tonight where LeBron jacks up his threes from Steph Curry range and gets them, and we don't win games. So, man, yeah, I don't know. Like, something's got to give, and unfortunately, the relationship between LeBron and JJ means that JJ just can't. He can't get through to the guy. I'm sorry, he can't get through to him. I can't believe that JJ's not there saying, "Move the ball, bring in other players." I just can't believe that this is what it's being coached during the week. Isolation basketball. What do you even need a coach then? Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, LeBron, we're holding you accountable, bro, and Joe's gonna hold you a little bit more accountable than me. AD, I've got you too. I've got you on my sights. We need some change, and we need some of these leaders to step up and carry the other players. Obviously, we want more out of the other players, and we're going to call them out. Rui, you've been terrible. Gabe, you've been bad. Vando, you don't play. Wood, you're a joke, etc., etc. But our boys, our big boys, the guys that are on more than 75% of the salary cap, are LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So you boys step up. You get us to the playoffs. You do something. The other day when we played, was it Detroit or whatever? They don't, they didn't carry us. They don't carry us that much anymore. They should. Those two players should be winning most of the games on their own. Come on, guys. Like, I just want a bit more out of them. And I don't know. LeBron for me is a funny leader, man. So really, I'm the same age. I keep saying I'm the same age as LeBron, but I don't know. I don't know whether or not, because he had to focus in basketball in high school, that he didn't get certain development that you need, but he's not leading this team very well from my perspective in his 40th year.
Young again. Cam, he's only got the minimum. These are minimum contract guys you're talking about with Wood and Cam. They don't really move the needle either way, but they also don't really do much for you in a trade because, again, they're minimum salary guys. But here's a guy that isn't a minimum salary guy who is taking up a lot and stealing a lot of money from the Lakers right now. Nick T on the super chat says, Joe, I know you don't like talking about him. I know you're tired of talking about him. But Nick T says he's watching Vando in street clothes with a big smile on his face. I wish I could work one day out of the week and get paid for 5.
So the Lakers have 6 players on this team, not named LeBron and AD, that occupy $73 million.
Mm.
73 million. And that is, and then on top of that, you have LeBron, who people seem to mesmerize because he can drop 29 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds in a game, yet can't make a fundamental pass half the time. And you lose, you almost lose to the Nets at home. But I'm supposed to be enamored with his stats. Oh, well, Joe, he can't carry this team. Sharon, if you're listening, if you can't carry this team, LeBron, maybe you shouldn't collect $50 million then. $50 million needs to go to a franchise player who can carry the team. Does that make more sense? If you can't carry the team, take $30 million so that they can allocate $20 million to maybe someone else that might be very, very good. Then that would help. Well, Joe, we can't do that. It's because of CBA. Sure, you're right. But he was a free agent last year. He could have done something maybe. Or maybe he could have done something 2 years ago as he saw it. You know what Tom Brady used to do because of the hard cap in the NFL? He took less money because he knew, I'm not going to get any receivers if I don't do that. How the hell am I going to win? He cared about winning. He took less money. Shohei Ohtani, yes, $700 million contract, but he deferred 680 of it for 10 years later so that the team could acquire guys like Roki Sasaki, guys like Yamamoto. Do you really care about winning, LeBron? Because the way you play and the way you do your business, you don't care about winning. And this is something that needs to be discussed over and over and over again. And this isn't a lie that a lot of these a-holes in the media do where they make up these stories of certain narratives. This is legitimate. I can prove it. It's on the tape. It's in the transactions. You care about winning, yet you max out your deal, leaving your team no way of being able to be flexible. You make your team pick your son in a draft when your son doesn't even belong in college. And then every time I see you play, you're always making some dumb pass for a guy that's supposed to be the smartest basketball IQ guy that's ever played, according to LeBron James, of course. No, not falling for that. Nope. I got the proof. It's on the tape. It's in the transactions. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing how LeBron can't carry this team. If he can't carry this team, retire. We need winners. If you can't do the job, why did guys play only 12, 13, 14 seasons? Why back in the day, if they were lucky? Because they lost it. They ran out. They ran out of the gas. They played to win. They played 82 games a year too, by the way. So if you're just here just to be famous and the stat pad and to show people how great you are statistically, you ain't fooling me, fool. You ain't fooling me. You're fooling a lot of people, though, I'll tell you that, because a lot of people like mediocrity. They don't look at losing and winning. I look at fucking winning. I'm a winner. I want winners around me. I don't want stats. I give a shit about stats. Winning is all that matters. Winning is all that matters. Stats mean dick. So enjoy your stats. I want winners. And that is something that y'all need to really reanalyze. If you want to enjoy the games, you want to enjoy the spectacle, okay, cool. But don't come at us and with the excuses either. Don't come at us with the excuses. And I don't give a shit who I'm talking to. I don't care if I'm talking to Shaq, Barkley. I don't care if I'm talking to Adam Silver. I'd be talking the same way I'm talking now if that's what was warranted.
I wanted to go ahead and say this about Bronny. Mayu, I said this continually for weeks, and I did some research on this. Aaron Wiggins, of the last 10 picks at number 55, Mark, as I said this before many times, have you heard me say this before? He is the only one. He has the distinction of the only one to earn a second NBA contract at that pick right there. Just to let you know, the viability for players picked at number 55. So it tells you exactly what the odds are. You know, right now it's 10% every 10 years of players at that position actually make it a career in the NBA. And you're giving this guy a 4-year free ride, Mark, essentially,
Hey,
in order to prove
Gerald,
himself.
we're forgetting Patty Mills, 55th pick in the
No, I'm just
draft.
saying, but in the past 10 years,
Yeah,
the
no,
past
you're
10
right.
years,
Yeah, no,
Wiggins is the only one to make a second to play any
yeah,
at
yeah,
all in the league. When I
in
did the
10
research
years.
on this
Mhm.
last 10 years, yeah, Patty Mills was before that, but in the last 10 years at 55, only Wiggins has been the one that's been able to make an imprint in the league. That shows you how hard it is for a 55th player in the draft to make the league and stay in the league.
Yeah,
And yet you're giving Bronny this free ride for 4 years instead of doing which was probably, if you wanted to go ahead and placate LeBron, take their bluff, Maverick Carter and the entire Clutch team. Take their bluff and pick them on a two-way and use that pick on for someone better or someone that might have had
no.
a more potential. There was a 7-footer that is currently on the Knicks roster. He hasn't yet played very much, but I'm watching him, Ariel Hukporti. If he does make an imprint in this league, I am going to go off on a Joe Sorrell rant on that one because that will be on Rob Pelinka right there. I'm watching him. He's not doing it yet. He's still, he's still DNPs, but when he goes to the G League, he gets some impressive stats. I'm just watching him. I'm watching for any undrafted players out there, Mark, because if we have someone that starts it, that was drafted either later or undrafted, that is playing in the league and making contribution that Bronny isn't, I'm going to stick that one on Rob. I'm going to stick that one on Rob, Clutch, LeBron, the whole deal.
Well, I think I speak on behalf of chat that we wouldn't mind seeing you have a
Oh,
Joe
Jusman, there has. Yeah,
rant.
Jusman, there has. I mean, we talked
Yeah.
about Ginobili. We talked about Isaiah
Oh,
Thomas at number 60. Yeah, no,
guys.
there's been greater players after that. I'm talking in the past 10 years at the
Yeah.
number 55 spot.
No.
Only one has earned a second contract in the league.
But
So I'm
that's
just
not
letting you know at this time.
it's not about that for us, and it was never about
Yeah,
that for
and D1 Trace Jackson Davis was a 57th pick last year's draft. So you can
yeah.
find players that level, but there's no one yet that has. But I'm watching.
You don't like
Oh, no
the
worries,
thing
Sharon.
is as well, Gerald, though, if we had the 45th pick in that draft, we would have taken him. It wasn't the draft number, man. It was the fact that we took him for money. We took like a serious team does not take Bronny James. Like it doesn't matter because who cares what happened in the last 10 years? Who cares what happened in the last 100 years? You still have a chance at that pick to do something special or to do something to bring someone into the team that can add something. You're not always going to find a Joker. You're not always going to find a Patty Mills, a Manu Ginobili. But a serious team, they look at their two picks in the draft, they take Dalton, and then they go, okay, what else is missing? Who else can we bring in? Who else can we develop? We didn't do that, guy. We did none of that, man. We knew Bronny was going to get taken with whatever pick we had in the second round. We took him for jersey sales. Yeah, it's worked out. Who, man, like I've always
Financially,
said,
it's worked out.
yeah, I've always said this about the financials of the club that I go for. I could not give a crap. The Lakers are rich, man. Barcelona are rich, man. They can make money every single way they want. Was Bronny James the only way they could have made money this year? Was not playing better as a team, being more competitive as a team, going to make us more money? Was not another chip going to make us more money? What's the bigger picture here? It's a clown show, and we're gonna go there now. Rob runs the team like a joke. The way he's constructed the team, the Westbrook trade is the worst, possibly the worst trade in the NBA history, but he's still got his job. And you know what? One ship in 6 years. Yeah, cool, man. Like that's good for, Boston. That's good for our competitors. It's not good for us, man. The guy shouldn't have his job. Genie should have sold the team. There's just so many fundamental issues. So it didn't matter what pick we had in that second round draft. We're going to take him for jersey sales. And like from that moment, and you know what? Like, man, shout out to the chat, but shout out to Joe because Joe, did make it pretty emphatic, guys, that he was not going to stick around too much longer if they took Bronny, but because of how we feel about Joe, he did stick around. But Joe knows this is a clown show. It's a circus. And that's why, he'll talk about these points and focus on LeBron because LeBron's brought this all to the club, and the influence of clutch sports in the club is just not. The Lakers are so much bigger than an organization than clutch sports. How have they let them infiltrate us this badly? So man, yeah, LeBron. I do still love seeing LeBron at times playing in isolation, blah blah blah, because that's all we've got. But sorry, love's a strong word. But yeah, the Bronny thing, man, for me, nah, that was trash. And from that moment, we're not a serious team, which hurts me, man. It hurts me. Sorry
And the reason
for the
why we're
pain.
so upset, well, no, all good. The reason why we're so upset about this is because they gave a 3-year plus a team option guaranteed ride to a kid that's probably not going to give you a contribution or positive one in the league. I mean, it's going to be very hard for him. He can't shoot, doesn't play point. He's a 6-foot guard that you're hoping will be able to be athletic enough to play defense on a regular level. And it just there's so many things working against him right now. It's really hard to see a pathway through for success for him. If his name wasn't Bronny James Jr., we wouldn't even be discussing him at all. He would barely be in the G League at this point in time. But again, that's the problem. He is taking up a roster spot where you could get a player that may be able to give you a contribution now over a contribution from Bronny, which may never happen and most likely will never happen in our opinions. That's what really pisses off, because you have so many dead spots on the roster with Cam, with Gabe, with Vando, with Wood, with Bronny. That's 5 off the top of my head right there that are giving you next to nothing as far as for contributions for this team. But Joe, on to a happier subject. The reason why you were not here in the first place to come on was the Dodgers made a little signing today. And in the super chat, 805 wants to know, he did not stop by your Empire Jeff. Shout out to Empire Jeff, by the way. Go ahead, like and subscribe. He wants to hear your thoughts on the Dodgers signing Roki Sasaki.
Well, Dodgers won the 2024 season, and they're now winning the 2024-2025 offseason, setting the stage for probably what will be one of the greatest baseball runs here, not only this year, but possibly in the next, at the very least, the next half decade. I'm not going to compare the two because I think I've done that enough, but to get a phenom who's already ready, maybe he might not be Jacob deGrom ready, but the son of a gun's going to be ready to rock and roll here in 2025 with his countrymen in Yamamoto and Otani. And then you got Glasnow, you got Snell, you got Kershaw coming back, who can probably pitch another 50 to 100 innings. You have Gosselin, you have May, you have Bobby Miller, if he can come through a little bit. And then you have one of the best, if not the best, bullpens. And that bullpen could end up getting even better should they go after Tanner Scott. It is, in my book right now, the offseason's it's a completion. Now, I am greedy. I do want Kike back, and he will be back. That's probably why I'm not too worried about that. And then if you can get someone like Tanner Scott, I don't even know what's going to happen to everybody else after that. I'm looking for possibly 115 wins next year and a World Series title. So salute to Andrew Friedman. Salute to Caston, Walters, Gomi. That's all the front office presidents and GMs of the Dodgers, and of course the Guggenheim ownership, which we are begging and will continue to campaign to hopefully take over the LA Lakers here in the near future, because I think that's their only hope. This franchise's only hope is to get this in someone else's hands other than Genie's, and someone that's already got a little bit of their hands in it, and those hands have already proven that they know how to run a professional sports team in 2025. That's where I stand, and I'm excited to possibly get another run here with another sport. I know we've been doing Lakers here the last 4 years, but the market is screaming for the Dodgers. Whether I'll do a Steelers show down the road is up for grabs as well. Maybe when Mike Tomlin finally goes away in 3 years when his contract is over, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But it's been a great day. It's been a great day. I'm very excited.
Are they getting Tanner Scott next?
There's been a lot of discussion. So early reports is now that the Cubs might be involved, which is complete bullshit. The Cubs aren't going to pay him $20 million a year. And I don't think the Red Sox will. Tanner Scott wants 4 years, $80 million. The Dodgers could pay that, but I don't believe they will, and they shouldn't. I believe Tanner Scott at 60 for 4 years is probably a better number. And if you really, really had to, maybe pay him 16 to 17 mil per, but I don't think 20 is the number. And I don't really think Tanner Scott thinks he's going to get that number. I think that's just kind of playing up high, seeing who can get close enough to the 20. But if the Dodgers end up getting him, let's say for get some deferred money in there, get him for around 17 per for about 4 years. That now you have a lefty. Now the Dodgers have 3 lefties out of the bullpen. That's, of course, once Vesia's arbitration is figured out, because that's the only one that they have to negotiate still. And you also get a pitcher that had a pretty good outing against Ohtani all year, which is Tanner Scott. You get him, and then you got Roki, and that basically they have 2 sets of starting lineups, starting pitching lineups. The Dodgers essentially go into next year almost guaranteeing the fact that they're not going to come up lame at the end of the year like they have the last 2 years with their pitchers. And then as far as their offense, as far as their offense is concerned, they're ready. They're rocking and rolling. They're ready already.
I did want to touch on something before we get it back over to Xbox. Sharon noted, she said she was shocked Joe chose the players as the key to success. You convinced her that it was the ownership where it starts first. I think because of how much you've stressed on the fact that the ownership has been troubling, to say the least, as far as the direction for the past decade plus, and how it seems so stable when you have a stable ownership like in the Dodgers, how it can breed a successful franchise where you're competing at a very high level over the course of years, as opposed to just a slight window every now and then.
Blame. We always look for the blame, but the blame.
Oh, by the way, a young advocate, he said, what is Joe wrong on? By the way, is what he said. He sent it out. I don't know if you got that because he sent it out to everything else, but YouTube.
I'm assuming he thinks I'm wrong that they would sell.
Yeah.
You're not wrong there, guys. They're probably not. Genie's probably not going to sell, but that's what needs to happen.
Probably not going to.
Yeah, that's what.
Just because we want it to happen doesn't mean it will.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either, but it needs to happen. Otherwise, you're putting the trust in a ownership since Dr. Buss has passed away. That's only won 50 games the last 13 years. See, people forget that. If the Lakers hadn't won in 2020, this would be a very bad era of Laker basketball. Very, very bad. And it would be detrimental to LeBron's career. They won. I'm not, again, they won. So it is what it is. But there's too many, as great as LeBron is, and as much as Genie has won in recent times, it's not, things aren't being run correctly. And they're not run correctly by stupidity and just plain just inability to do the job. She runs the team like you run like these Major League Baseball teams run their teams. They're worried about ticket sales for some second-round pick. You're not really concerned about winning. You're focused on getting some guy who's not going to do anything to help you win so you can sell jerseys. Imagine if you had done your homework a little bit, because you guys are pretty good picking guys in the second round. Hell, Zubac, Clarkson. How many late first-round picks did we hit on? Josh Hart, Nance Jr., Kyle Kuzma. Now, when I say hit, these are serviceable, good role-playing guys late in those rounds. That's what you're supposed to do in those rounds. You're supposed to get guys that are good players that can fill a role. You're not doing that because you're too busy catering to jersey sales and some agency. You're the LA Lakers. You let an agency run your team. You put your head on LeBron's shoulders in public. What the fuck are you doing over there? Haven't you banged enough players in your time to put your shoulder in public on somebody else? What is this? Did you guys ever see Dr. Buss put his head on Shaquille O'Neal on the sidelines? So you're an embarrassment. And then that coward Rob Pelinka, where the hell is he? I still haven't seen him. When was it? The Michael Cooper? Was he even at the Michael Cooper jersey unveiling?
I didn't see him.
What do these people do?
He mentioned him, which hurt too. He obviously had to.
And Jeannie was there. We saw the picture of her close up, so she was there. Yeah.
Yeah, she was around protection. That's why. And no one was going to boo that night, right? I bet you she wouldn't be there if Michael wasn't there and the boys. Yeah, it's harsh. It's getting harsher because that's what you do when you're frustrated at mediocrity. When you don't have to be. You're the Lakers. You should be you're the standard, folks. 17 championships. We demand better performance. You have a down year, you have a couple down years, you have a 3-4 year down year where you need to maybe accumulate some talent. Okay, I get it. But at what point after 13 years of sucking for 12 of those years, we're going to sit here and go, okay, we're just going to ride this for another 12 years? Watch terribly fundamental basketball and watch the inmates run the asylum? Come on. No. It's not going to happen. Not gonna. I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not, and I never will.
805 asked real quick, and then I'll get over to Xbox. Joe, can we even have some of our starters in the bullpen?
I know there's been some discussion about Dustin May maybe going to the bullpen, but I think you want to see what he's gonna be as a starter. I don't know, guys. It's very hard to switch someone from a starter to a bullpen guy and vice versa. It's a very delicate situation. Kershaw's not going to be that guy either. Kershaw, I don't know what Kershaw's going to do. I really don't. Is he going to pitch for 3 months and then not be on the roster? How the hell is Kershaw going to be on the playoff roster? Like, I don't even know why he's coming back, to be honest with you. Does he just want to be around it? Okay, that's fine. But I don't really care at this point. I am in total, complete comfortability with Andrew Friedman doing what he's doing. If he feels like he needs somebody to go to the bullpen that's a starter, I'm with it. If it's the vice versa, I'm with it. If he wants to sit half that pitching staff the first half of the year, pitch the other guys the last half of the year, I'm with him. If he tells me that aliens are going to come down to Dodger Stadium and become the seventh pitcher, I believe him. That organization is the San Francisco 49ers of today. The San Francisco 49ers in 1979 through 1995, during the Edward DeBartolo regime, was the best run sports team I ever saw, and the Dodgers are now mimicking that. First-class organization, fan bases being rewarded every day, every single day. January 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th. We have been entertained every day after that World Series. And it wasn't just the fact that we were talking about the World Series. They're getting Blake Snell. They're getting Roki Sasaki. They're re-signing Trident. They're on the cusp of re-signing one of our favorites in Kike. They signed Teoscar Hernandez. It's like, what more could this team do to make us happy? Lakers, take a page from this. You used to be this. What happened? Seriously. That's where I'm at on that.
Before we head on out, Mark, one last thoughts from you on today's game, and then again Sunday we have the Clippers. I just know that we got to get a better performance. AD should be back in the lineup by then, according to what the quote from JJ has. I'm assuming DFS will also be back. Congratulations again on the birth of his child. I know that you guys were surprised he was out for a second game. I wanted to put in there, as far as what the chat was asking earlier, something we asked actually a couple games ago, last week even. Do you see ultimately DFS taking over for Rui in the starting lineup? And when would you do it if that's the case?
Well, yeah, personally, no. I mean, because I want Rui to be the player that I thought he would be, which is the third highest paid player in the team. That doesn't mean he needs to be the third scorer, the third option all the time. But for me, bringing DFS in was to boost, in my opinion, the bench. and to strengthen our squad overall. So I don't know how we've gone from Rui moving to the bench and DFS starting. Yeah, personally, yeah, obviously, Gerald, if that works out for better for the team, we're going to do it. But that doesn't mean then again that we're title contenders, because DFS is good, but he's average, guys. He was average in Brooklyn. He was average in the Mavericks. It's been a good trade for me, and you look back at the stream that the effectively the emergency stream you had when we traded D'Lo, and Joe, yourself, and Sean were on, and we gave it a B. I even gave it a B plus the trade because we needed D'Lo gone. It felt like he was a little bit of a, and we hate using this word, but we're just using it in a sporting context. It felt like it was a little bit of a cancer in the team, or a plague. It just, we sort of went as well as he did at times, and he never played well in those moments. So it felt like we needed to trade D'Lo. The DFS part of it has worked out, but the answer for me is not DFS on the starting lineup, and certainly what's been disappointing looking back at that trade over the last few weeks is my mate Milkshake hasn't stepped up. He's been very, very poor. Joe alluded to the fact that he didn't really know Shake and questioned the ability there. I'd seen a little bit of Shake, having a passing interest in Philly because of Ben, and just keeping an eye on them in general. And I thought he could deliver more. And yeah, Shake's done nothing. So getting back to your point there, yeah, DFS for Rui, what does that do? I don't think personally that does enough for me. Tonight was, we said it before, Gerald. I'm still recovering, I think. I had a mini heart attack at the end when D'Lo shot. So tonight shocked me a bit overall, and I think if you go back to some of the earlier conversation we had, you'd see that in the way that I summarized the game. But if we look at it in isolation, yeah, GG's, we won, okay. But let's move on now to the Clippers. Massive concerns. We hope that AD is back, so it gives us a big and an AD, a great player. But we're going to have to play really well, guys, and they're going to have to step up. They're going to have to be there, and it's not just our big boys who have let us down a little bit. It's the whole team, and I'm really worried. But hopefully, like I said earlier, the rivalry aspect, brings up some of the boys, because man, let's bring it down, guys. Like, LA's been through one of the worst periods in the history of the city in the last few weeks, and now we've got a chance to play, our little baby brother or little sister, or however you want to describe the Clippers. Man, we'd love to beat them, wouldn't we? We'd love to get that, that hometown win, and that boasting. When you go into the office and you're talking to the Clippers fans, you'd love to give them a bit of heat. The fact we beat them. I'd love to beat the Clippers, man. I love beating the Clippers. It doesn't happen enough for me. So we'll see what happens, Gerald. But if you look at it objectively, Clippers are favorites. That's for sure.
Before we head on out, I think I wanted to get Joe's opinion on this because I know he said it quickly to Robert, but in the chat, but want to go ahead and hear your thoughts. So what if the Lakers do beat the Clippers on the road? Technically on the road, it's still Inglewood, but it's technically a road game. Even though more Lakers fans will probably matriculate even into that high, costly priced Intuit Dome than the Clippers fans on Sunday. And then what if they beat Boston in a couple games as well? Would that change your mind? Robert's asking, would that change your mind on where you perceive the Lakers could be as a team? I'm saying no, because again, I've seen so much this season, which tells me they are who we thought they were.
Do you want to ask Joe? I'll just really quickly answer
Go
that.
ahead.
Robert, Robert makes some really good points, but I think I've seen tonight how he might look at the game a bit, and he alluded to it in his question earlier, that he sort of assesses games on their own merit, and he isolates games in terms of how that might make the team project. For me, beating the Clippers doesn't mean we're the title favorites. It just doesn't mean that. Even beating the Celtics, I've got to see a really decent run of form, Robert. I've got to see a change in the way we're playing, even if we beat them. I've got to see a change overall in the ball movement, in the mindset, in the way that LeBron's distributing. I've just got to see a change in the way we're playing. We're going to win games in isolation. We're going to beat we'll beat a Memphis like we did this year. We'll have a good win every now and then. But for me, Robert, I've got to see some fundamentals changing, and I'm not sure that's going to happen over the next few games. I hope so, man, because I love the Lakers.
Nurkic is just so slow on defense, guys, and
Yeah.
he's a tremendous rebounder. But yeah, he's just so slow. He doesn't block shots and doesn't do enough for you on the offensive end. I just at 18 mil this year, at 19 mil next, I just don't see it as a really good fit. But I know that was suggested in the chat. But Joe, before we head on out, you briefly touched on it. I'm going to add a little bit caveat on it to what Robert Wheeler was asking. He said, "Would you perceive the Lakers differently or in a better light if they win? Let's say they win on Sunday at the Clippers, at the Clipper Dome, at the Toilet Bowl, and then they win not 2 games later. Well, they win the next game. I think I forget who it is. I'll look it up in a second. And then they win in 2 games against Boston as well. Will that change your perception at all for our audio listeners? I mean, our listeners and our viewers on the chat already know your answer, but would that change your perception on how this team could end up being?"
No, because as soon as they win those games, they start to feel themselves, and then they start playing like assholes.
Or what could happen is, yeah, they'll win the game against the Clippers, they'll win the game against Boston, but right in the middle, they'll lose against Washington. So that's what happens.
They haven't been losing to those teams. They've been beating the bad teams. It's the way they play
against those bad teams.
They make they make it harder on themselves, and I don't mind it once in a while. It's the dog days of the NBA are right now, January, February, but it's always like that. They are very lazy, a lazy team that has no business being lazy. The age, other than LeBron, everyone is young on this team. These guys should be running clinics by now, at least fundamentally. I know that their talent isn't up to snuff. We've talked about that, but fundamentally, they're just too erratic. And it's led by LeBron James. That's the leader. When he makes stupid passes, when he gets hit and he falls for 15 minutes while his teammates are covering his ass on the other side of the court, they all learn from that and they do it themselves. I start seeing Austin Reaves do it. So that's a bad example.
Well, with that, it is, of course, the Lakers winning 102-101. Tomorrow, your fix for the Lakers fast break will be the Lakerholics. I know Laker Tom will not be there, and I know that Jamie was wondering whether or not he should do the show, and I said, Michael Heinrich actually gets a chance to talk.
Yeah.
Got to dedicate a show for him.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, and Michael Heinrich usually has some good things to say, but he never gets to talk sometimes with Laker Tom there.
That dude knows his basketball. Michael knows his basketball.
Yes, but God bless Laker Tom. We do love Laker Tom, but he does take up a lot of airspace, but he will not be there tomorrow. But I told Jamie, you got to go ahead and make sure you bring it on for Michael, especially Michael, because he's on at 8 o'clock in the morning, his time in Hawaii. So please go ahead and do a show. So he's going to go ahead and do a show tomorrow for Lakerholics. We'll be back on Sunday. It is, of course, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Hopefully Mark, hopefully Joe, hopefully John, who I hope will feel better. Man, having that stomach virus, that's nasty stuff. I don't know. That just really doesn't float very well with your name Xbox and you're floating out a Nintendo Switch game. It just doesn't jive very well.
There's going to be Xbox games on the Switch too, so I've gone early.
If they get Xbox Game Pass and then they get a game on Game Pass called Corrupt, Coreupt, on Game Pass.
That's the focus. Yep.
And they pay Joe lots of money for that. Then,
True.
And it goes on the Switch too. Then we're talking, right, Joe?
Well, if that happens,
Then
I'll
we're
change my
talking.
name to Corrupt.
The, g-
How about
the,
that?
the goal is always to get to all platforms. That's always the goal.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there will be. It's very, very highly likely that first it's going to likely. Well, we'll find out if Sony wants to do an exclusive, but at some point it will be on the Xbox. At some point it will be on the Switch or the new Switch, whatever.
Switch
And
2.
yes, this is all going to happen, folks. It's just a matter of time.
I would not have
Yep.
your developer that you're paying good money for, who's finally reaping his rewards. I would not ask to torture him by putting a game that's out or available on Steam now to try and force it on that antiquated Nintendo Switch. You need to put it on a Switch too. Nintendo Switch, for how great it is, how many it's sold, how great a system it is, as Mark would tell you, you cannot put a modern game and force it into a Nintendo Switch. Look at Mortal Kombat 1 and you'll have your answer there, Mark. It's just that simple. Look
Do
at
you
that
want me
Well,
port.
we
to?
had our first
That's a
our first.
terrible port.
Is it really?
Don't remind me,
Did you
man.
see? Yeah, Mark knows.
$70 US.
And remember, he paid for it. He probably paid for it early. And I'll tell you what, he probably popped it in there
Day
before
one, man.
they tried. Yeah, day one. That's the problem. Day one, it came out with some of the most horrific eyeballs
Yeah, no.
and facials on
A game
any
like
port
Corrupt.
ever. It was
A game like Corrupt
hilarious.
would be perfect on a Switch too. It's just Joe. You've seen it with the bureaucratic tape, or however you want to describe it, with some of these big companies. It's sometimes they don't give people a chance. So the success it's having on Steam and chat, go check it out because we need to back it as much as possible.
Well, I'm going to be able to test it on my PS5, guys. So you guys will find
Oh
out.
wow, sick, man.
Yeah. So don't worry,
Gotta
it's
send
all
me a
underway.
code.
It's this.
Got to send me a code for the Xbox One X
I promise. The second it's on the Xbox, you guys will have it.
or PC. I
Hell
got a
yeah.
PC now that can handle it. So there you go. Sharon, who is the guy on
Great game.
earlier? I think you're talking about during the game. We had Cool Bro. Cool Bro's just a fun kid that Joe and I like to torture every now and then, especially Joe.
Yeah.
He's been a good
Danny
kid
was
that's
there.
been around. Danny was there, but Cool Bro doesn't really know basketball. He's more of a Rams fan, but he is such a good sport, and we wish him the best continuously. He is finally off the diet of McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Red Bull, and Joe allowed him back onto the stream. So that's who you're probably talking about. So yeah, he does not have a knowledgeable game on there as far as basketball, but that's part of the fun. He's willing to come up there and be razzed by us, and I wish him all the best because he's such a great sport. Danny, he really good kid. Be patient with him, everybody. Just please, I ask, be patient with him because he's just trying his best out there, and I think he's doing the best job he can. And I really appreciate him just being there and just wanting to come on day after day and day out. And then, of course, Laker Nick, who's just truly awesome. Joe and Mark, who's on there, and John, who gutted it out with stomach virus, and who still he said he was at the hospital. My God, and he's watching the game with us. Yeah,
that
he
was
comes
crazy.
home, he's watching the game with
it was
us.
like an
Yeah, absolutely.
intravenous drip whilst watching the
Yeah,
game.
he just an IV.
So
Yeah,
shout out to
exactly.
him.
Shout out indeed. But yeah, must hate her. Black hasn't surfaced. Yeah, I think because John isn't probably here on the post game. Maybe he was waiting for John.
He hasn't
and
rocked up for
stalking him.
2 streams now. So
Yeah, that
there
would
you
have
go.
made John really sick right there. So I'm glad maybe that didn't happen. But yeah, if you want to see what we're talking about, check out the other night, the post game with John on. That was classic between him and Black. And then the chat. The chat, it takes about an hour, a full day for the chat to generate. So it's up there now for the previous post game. So yes, check out the chat. First of all, Black got on John, then John got on Black, and then the rest of the chat got on Black. And it was just so fun to watch as far as how everybody was just unloading on this guy. Yeah. So, but Black took it in style. I'm going to give him up props. He took it in style, and he took his lumps, and he dished it out. So I give
shout out
much
to
respect
Dwight
for that.
Smith too.
Yeah.
Similar
Yeah,
experience
and
for him.
we still have LeBald here as well. We still,
Yep.
our haters don't hate us as much as they thought. So there you go. I'm just truly glad to have you here. And Much Hater gave us 2 likes and 2 subscribes. I don't know how he did that, but hey, double likes and double subscribes always work for me. But 805 says Patrick Beverly shut down LeBron. Yeah, I don't
Man.
know.
Oh, Gerald, don't
Yeah.
start going down the Patrick
Did he
Beverly
go on
path.
a podcast in
I can.
the Arenas
Ah,
podcast or
man.
something? Yeah.
That was again. Thanks, Rob,
Yeah. Yeah.
bringing
Thanks,
Patrick
Rob, for
Beverly
that
to
one
the
too.
club.
Yeah, you traded for that
Appreciate it,
guy.
bro.
How'd that work out? Yeah, Joe was on that one day one. I will give you got to give me credit for Westbrook, but you got to give Joe for Patrick Beverly. He was on that
Ah, man.
day one. Day one.
Yeah.
So
To think that
That
guy
wasn't that
played in a
hard
Laker
though.
uniform. No, it
you
wasn't.
were
But
no, you were that hard from day one.
No, I
You
meant that
couldn't have.
wasn't
as you
hard to
should have been.
be
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
was a disgrace.
Yeah. No, BC, not at the time, BC. No. A lot of people were liking that trade. I'm the one that went on the air from the get-go. I drove 300 plus miles from LA back to here just so I could go on the air to tell you how bad of a trade that was. And I will just leave it at that. That's a classic one from the past. It's on the channel if you want to look up in the archives. But yes, there you go indeed. But of course it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win 102 to 101. I guess NFL predictions, Aaronetic. We didn't do an Inside Sports Fantasy Football this week. So, Joe, any predictions for the playoff games before we head on out?
I'm going Ravens, Chiefs, Lions, Eagles.
It's going chalk. Pretty
Give us
much right
a,
there.
any
I can't.
outsiders there, boys.
I'm saying the Ravens because I'm expecting Lamar to play really well.
Okay.
But if he plays like Lamar has played against pressure, which he's played a lot better this last month or so, then he'll be in trouble.
I'm going all chalk as well, Xbox, just to let you know. But if there
Yeah.
is an upset, don't tell Cool Bro I said this. But if there is an upset, it might be the Rams.
Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that happening too. Sure.
Okay. And if I just look at it, yeah, the line 6 points, so that's pretty close in the Rams game. But Buffalo is outsiders at home. Is that odd to you guys?
Yeah, I think that is odd. Why the spread is the way it is for that one. So,
Mm.
not sure why that is, but yeah.
Might be a
I
bit of
mean,
value there.
Allen's got a. He was my MVP. He almost won me a league again this year. So I got to give it to him.
Well,
But
before
yeah,
we go, is that your MVP's Josh Allen? What's yours, Joe?
yeah, Josh Allen's my MVP.
Lamar Jackson.
But Baltimore is a favorite by one. That one could go either which way. You're right. Buffalo could in the snow. Never know. Never know. But yes, it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Please support his game. That's Corrupt, Coreupt on Steam. Also, as well, of course, his company. If you need a new lawn in the Southern California area, I know there's a lot of Southern California listeners and viewers. If you are looking at just saying, forget all the grass, especially after what's happened, you want to go synthetic, you want to go to just get something that's going to last and look good, hit up Joe at Symblates with a Y.com. And then, of course, Mark, aka Xbox. If you want to read his thoughts on Ben Simmons, you got to hear his thoughts on Ben Simmons. But if you want to read his thoughts on Ben Simmons, all it takes is $2.99 to become a member today for the Lakers, and you get to read it right now. Plus, you get an advanced look at the PC multiverse I just dropped for our members ahead of time. It's not dropping on the Cosmos YouTube channel for another 12 hours or so. So there you go, indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The guys from the Lakerholics crew will be on tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll be back Sunday. Will the Lakers do it in the toilet bowl? The Intuit Dome against the Clippers on Sunday. We'll find out, but we'll be here regardless. Good win or bad loss? We'll find out on Sunday right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.